What's going on, everybody? It is Sean Daniel, your favorite guitar control teacher and internet hairstyle mentor here, and we're going to teach you how to play the old school 12-bar blues today with a bit of new school sensibility. So make sure to click the tabs below to grab the sheet that you can follow along with, because this is really a lesson that you can get a lot of miles out of. And we're going to start by doing the 12-bar blues in the key of E. Super easy to do, but first we have to understand some terminology real quick. A bar mostly is just a piece of music. It's just like a length of time. And we're going to be doing it in 4, which most of the time it is. So what that means is we have 4 beats in a bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's 1 bar. So most blues music you will hear of follows a somewhat strict pattern or guideline of 12 bars. There's a lot of variations within that you can get creative with, but we're just going to kind of go over what is a very standard 12-bar outline that, again, is going to be in that sheet that you can get to below. So eventually the whole thing is going to sound like this. So let's start breaking out what is going on right there. The first thing that we're doing is we're just playing an open E string and the 2nd fret on the A string. So I'm really just striking the lowest 2 strings, and that's giving us an E power chord. So since that's our first chord we're using, this is going to be the blues in E. Now you might notice that I'm kind of muting this to give it even more of an old school pulsing sound. The way I'm doing that is I'm using a pick. You don't have to use a pick, you can do this with your thumb too, but I'm palm muting the strings. So what that means is I'm taking the side of my hand right here, kind of karate chopping the bridge, and when I do that, it deadens the strings, and that kind of gives you more of that like old school sound as compared to the sustain, right? You can do it with your thumb, your nail. But all we're doing is we're going to have that palm muting technique applied to this open E power chord. The only thing we're going to alter at first is going from the 2nd fret to the 4th fret. 1, 2. Now every beat I'm playing is going to get 2 hits, and it's going to be kind of swung in a very bluesy way. So what that means is instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to play it 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and because I have that staggered and beat, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and it kind of gives the whole vibe like a forward propulsion, which is something very common in old school blues, right? So again, the way we're going to organize this is going to be something that you might want to follow along with on that sheet, but it's going to be almost the same thing for every blues song. It's going to be a bar of 1. What that means is 1 is going to be E. And this all comes from the E major scale. So if we were to take that scale, the E major scale, open 2, 4, open 2, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notes in an octave. If we number those, we're going to have bars of 1, bars of 4, which is the open A string, and bars of 5. 1, 4, and 5. We're going to be talking about those as numbers instead of frets, because then you can move this anywhere. So the way we're going to play it is we're going to have 1 bar of 1, which is E, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and all I'm doing right there and that bar is going, the first beat, 2 hits, is on open E in 2A. The second beat is going to be open E in 4A. Now I'm using 2 different fingers. If that's too much of a stretch for you, if you're just starting out, just slide it back and forth. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's 1 bar right there, okay? 1 bar of 1. 1 being E in the key of E. Now we're going to go to the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The open A string, we're just going to move everything down a string and do the same thing. Literally the exact same thing, just moved down a string. 1 bar. And then back to 2 bars of E. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And now if you want to maybe do something a little bit extra, on that 4th bar, let's do this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So on that 3rd beat, I go to the 5th fret. Same thing, open E, 2A is going to be the 1st beat. Open E, 4A is going to be the 2nd beat. Open E, 5A is the 3rd beat. Open E, 4A is going to be the 4th beat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we've got 1 bar of 1, 1 bar of 4, then we're going to have 2 bars of 1. So this is 4 bars total. And I'll kind of speed through it. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and down a string and back to the 1 chord. All right, so that's we're a third of the way through. Now the next couple bars are going to be back on the 4 chord. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that was just 2 more bars of A. Then back to the 1 chord for 2 more bars. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So now we've got 8 of the requisite 12 bars that we've already powered through. Now the next bar, the 9th bar, is going to be on the 5 chord. And again, the 5 in the key of E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is a B. We're just going to make this a B power chord. So 2A. And 4D. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and just 1 bar there. Now if you want to really work on your stretch, you can do the same thing that we were doing with these chords and go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? But not necessary. You can just do it here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and back to the A. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then back to the E, 2 more bars. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So the way we're doing it, organizationally wise, is 1 bar of 1, 1 bar of 4, 2 bars of 1. Then we're going to do 2 bars of 4, 2 bars of 1. 1 bar of 5, 1 bar of 4, and 2 bars of 1. So that's essentially the organization of the 12 bar blues. Now you can vary this a lot. Some people use 4 bars of 1, 2 bars of 4, 2 bars of 1, then 1, 1, 2. A lot of different ways you could do it, but this is just kind of the construct, the framework that it exists within. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to replace those last 2 bars of E with what's called a turnaround. A turnaround is just something a little extra that you could do to kind of turn the progression around to get back to the beginning. Because if you notice, those last 2 bars are the same as the first bar of 1. So sometimes you can almost kind of confuse yourself as like, am I in the 12th bar? Am I in the 11th bar, the first bar? So what we do is we replace those last 2 bars and just do something a little bit different to turn the whole progression around. And again, you can get really creative here. Good blues players have like a bunch of different licks and turnarounds that they have at their disposal. The one we're going to use is going to be really easy and it's going to be very kind of popular. It's going to sound like this. And this is going to take the place of those last 2 bars. All it is going to be that open E, power chord, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So the first 4 beats are just open, 4th fret, 5th fret, 6th fret. I'm chromatically, 1 note at a time, walking up to this chord, which is the 7th fret on the E string middle finger, 6th fret on the A string index finger, 7th fret on the D string ring finger, making what's called a B7 chord. So again, the last 2 bars of the progression, this E turnaround, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and last bar of B. I'm just getting 2 strums, then a 3rd, and that brings us back. Okay? So, this is almost kind of useless if you don't have some kind of bluesy lyrics to kind of sing along with. So since this is the old school blues, we're going to add some modern first world problems to them to kind of help us organize it. Because if you're just kind of playing out in space and you're maybe having a hard time counting it, it's really helpful to kind of at least think along, if not try to sing along with what you're doing. So basically we're going to take a problem that I have a lot and turn it into like a little 12-bar blues song, all right? I'm having a bad, bad day. My gluten-free muffin has traces of wheat. To the 4. I'm having a bad, bad day. My gluten-free muffin has traces of wheat. To the 5 chord. If I can't kick these composite starches, I don't know what I'm gonna eat. Now, the other thing that you want to do to make it old school is like on that turnaround. Watch out now. You gotta warn people that you're finishing the turnaround. So that watch out now is pretty important. And it usually happens 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and watch out now. Or here we go is another one. Here we go. Stuff like that. Really old school tricks that you can add a modern sensibility and flair to. So all this stuff is movable. This is just in E. This same kind of pattern is going to work anywhere on the neck. You could do it in A. Just pick a random note. 1 bar here. You don't even have to kind of do the variations. You can do it as a single note to really kind of like simplify it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and down a string. Then back to the 1 chord. 1, 2 bars. Then go to the 4 chord, which is always down a string. 1, 2, 3, 4, the 2nd bar. And then back to the 1 for 2 more bars. And then to the 5 chord for 1 bar. The 4 chord for 1 bar. And then a turnaround. So again, get as creative as you want with these. Learn a bunch of different turnarounds and kind of apply them in any way that you want. And eventually, you'll just be singing the blues and relieving some of the tension of modern life with the beauty and the tools of an old school mentality. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thanks a lot. So now that you've mastered the blues, it's time to move on and learn some other stuff, which is great because we have a couple videos right here that you can continue the endless pursuit of guitar education with, all because you clicked on here and subscribed to Guitar Control. So if you have any ideas of what you want to see next, let us know, and we'll see you soon.